Because I'll tell you what, you get inside of a production, you get inside of a play with a group of actors, and they have to be intimate. They have to know each other because they've had relationships, you know, in the play for maybe years. So there has to be an intimacy that's created overnight, and then things happen. Your boyfriend, if he is sexual in any way, is gonna start fucking everybody in the building. And don't forget, he's gonna have fans.
I don't think he's gonna have fans, honestly. Can I call you Patty? He is so funny looking.
There's a lot of weirdos out there, honey. You know, the Elephant Man got laid a lot.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back. This is Boys Watching Girls. We are just two boys watching HBO's Girls. We are your hosts. I am Joe Welke.
I am Vance.
And today we are talking about episode 8 of season 3. Overall, this is episode 28. The episode is titled Incidentals. It's directed by Richard Shepard, written by Lena Dunham and Sarah Hayward. The original air date was February 23rd, 2014, to an audience of 916,000 people, 0.916 million. Initial thoughts on this? How are you feeling about it?
My initial thought is that my prediction, based off the title, was absolutely correct.
It was. You did correctly predict Incidentals would be something about a hotel room.
Yep.
And you nailed that. I had no idea what it meant.
Because you're not fancy.
So point to Vance.
28 episodes, I got maybe 2 right.
Yeah, I don't think I've gotten any right. For me, I feel like this is kind of like it was an all right episode. Yeah, it was okay.
I enjoy this episode. It's got some. Yeah, it's fun. It did something. It set up something that could have been worse. You know.
Yeah.
And that's what I was.
I had a lot of whoa, holy shit! There's like race cars driving by my apartment right now.
Oh yeah, I have to caveat audio wise. There has been a smoke alarm in somebody's apartment that has just been going off randomly, and so there may be sporadic beeping just happening on my end.
All right,
so we'll
all
see.
right. Do you hear that, everybody? If the audio sucks on these, there's race cars going by on mine. There's alarms going off in Vance's. Oh God. But anyway, Incidentals. I thought that there was going to be, like, I didn't know where this episode was going. Like, I had certain things I thought was going to happen, and then other things that I thought was going to happen, and it just didn't. And I had no idea what was going on with this episode.
No, I was fine. I was kind of tracking along. I mean, they set up some stuff that they don't really pay off in this episode or really dive into, which I was okay with. But yeah.
I feel like we should kind of go chronologically in this one too, as opposed to our character breakdowns.
I think we can do character and then just kind of meet up with at the end. Because everyone's kind of separate. Like Marnie's separate, Jessa's separate.
Yeah, that's true. All right.
Hannah has a separate thing. Adam has a separate. Yeah.
You want to start with Jessa?
You would love to start with Jessa, wouldn't you? All right, yeah, we can start with Jessa.
Basically, Jessa's story at the beginning of this is she's very, 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 very bored at work. She's working at the children's clothing store that's like bougie and, you know, whatever in New York, and no one's coming into the store, so she's just kind of like, what the fuck, I'm gonna pull my hair out. She's sitting on the stoop of the storefront and smoking cigarettes, and she's doing a bunch of weird stuff trying to get people's attention. A UPS guy comes in, drops off a package, and she's like, hey, how are you doing? Hi, please don't leave me. No one ever comes in here. Please tell me about your weekend. He's like, I gotta go. He just leaves her.
It seems like he's dealt with her before. Like, it's not like
absolutely.
He's like, I just want to drop this off and run away because this girl is a mess. Yeah.
Yeah, they should call her Messa. I wish this was a video podcast to see the smile evaporate from your face.
Yeah, that was a terrible joke. I'm telling you, when you do a bad joke, I just let it linger there.
Yeah, you had like a bit of like a smile, and then I said Mesa, and you were just like, no.
My brain was like processing that and being like, no.
So Jess is bored at work, basically, and a little bit later on in the episode, the guy from rehab shows up at the store.
Yeah, his name's Jasper, played by Richard E. Grant, I believe.
Yes. Jasper shows up, her old rehab buddy, and she's like, what the fuck are you doing here? And you can tell that this guy, he kind of seems like he's on something.
Yeah.
He's talking a mile a minute. He's like, what the fuck? What is this place? Isn't this such a cute scenario? This is so great. This is hilarious. And Jess is like, what are you doing here? Like, how did you find me? He's like, you gave me your address, and I threw rocks at your window until some mousy girl came out and was like, are you here to rape me? And Jess is like, oh, that's Shoshana.
I thought that was going to be the only time we heard about Shoshana this episode.
Me too.
I was like, her only addition to this episode will be her asking some guy if he was coming to rape her. I was like, man.
So he's ranting and raving about like how weird the shop is, and Jess is like, well, I don't want you to be here. You shouldn't be here. I'm trying to be sober, and you're not the last person that I want to see. And he's like, you're full of shit. This isn't you. This isn't what you do. You're a wild person. You can't live in this life and pretend that you're not. I need you to come with me. I need you to come with me, and we need to go do something. And she's like, no, I'm not even attracted to you. And he's like, I don't care. You're coming with me. And then they go somewhere, and then they meet up with the rest of the girls later.
Yeah.
Which we'll get to in a bit.
It's one of those things where you see him come in and you're like, this is going to be bad.
Yes.
And it gets really bad. But it is interesting to see Jessa have a person that causes her to get anxious around, you know? Like, yeah. Normally
gives her some turmoil.
Yeah, normally she's the one like projecting that out. But when this guy shows up, she's, oh my God, no.
Yeah, and she's also kind of helpless around him. For she's like, no, I don't want to do this. And he's like, shut up, you're coming. And she's like, okay.
But last time we saw her with him, he was hitting on her, and she was like, no. And she just kind of like left the room, maybe. I don't know. Or he just started doing drugs. Yeah,
he started doing drugs, and then she just kind of walked out, it seemed like.
I will say with Jessa's rehab, I just never know how much of her actions were all drug-based, you know?
Yeah, and I also don't know how seriously she took rehab, because when we saw her at rehab, she was like, this is all a bunch of bullshit. And now that she's out of rehab, she's like trying to heal people with her rehab stuff like she did in the last episode. And like now she's like trying to stay sober and reprimanding Jasper for being on drugs or something.
Yeah, it seems like, and it wasn't like she had an alcohol problem, you know? And like in the last episode, we brought up that she like made Hannah drink because she was like, don't make me fall back off the wagon or whatever.
Yeah. And you want me to stay sober? Well, if you don't, I'm going to relapse.
Yeah, and I didn't even know she was trying to stay sober.
Me neither. Yeah. I thought that she thought that the rehab was a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah. Or she was just doing it to get a pair of Uggs. But
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Fucking Jessa.
Well, I just feel like sometimes they just kind of retcon her character into stuff that is supposed to be relatable, but they don't. Like, I could relate with her being bored at work. Like
I did, yes.
Yeah, that was fine. And then this comes and you're like, oh, okay. I don't know.
Well, Jessa says something to Jasper about, like, are you on drugs? And he's like, no, I'm just very excited to see you. But it's so obvious that this dude's on drugs.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that's where we'll leave off with Jessa, because she shows up later in a big way. We'll go with Marnie next.
Yeah, Marnie.
Marnie's at 16 Handles, the Fro-Yo place in New York City. That's awesome. I used to go to 16 Handles nonstop. I had a 16 Handles reward card. I would very often get free Fro-Yo because I hit that place up non-fucking stop.
Yeah, I saw that and I was like, this is Joe's kind of setup.
Well, me and Vance used to watch football together in Brooklyn.
Shout out to Whiskey Brooklyn.
To Whiskey Brooklyn. That place was fucking awesome. That was our like football hangout to watch the Baltimore Ravens. And we used to watch it with a guy named Ben Rosen, who also shout out Ben Rosen, who is an awesome person. Really funny on Twitter. I think his shit is @Rosen.
Yeah, he's
right?
up. I don't know. I don't know what his handle is offhand.
I'm pretty sure it's @Rosen.
But yeah, if you Google Ben Rosen, you'll find him.
Yeah, he's verified and stuff. He's a cool dude. Me and Ben, after pretty much every game, would get Fro-Yo together. And then I would go get Fro-Yo before open mics in New York. And it's just like a good time-wasting activity and also delicious as hell. And not that unhealthy.
Once you start adding the toppings on it, it's really...
Yeah.
It's not healthy.
Well, I would do the tart, like the original tart with fruit a lot. But then, like, when I was off when I was having a rough day, it was all chocolate and Reese's Pieces. And
you need to go to the Fro-Yo rehab.
I need Jasper to take me to Fro-Yo rehab.
Yeah.
Fucking be like, I know that you're not like this. You're going to be going to Fro-Yo.
Put down the Reese's Pieces. It's not that.
Yeah.
It's not that bad. Self-medicating.
Dude, now I really want some Fro-Yo now, dude.
I've never been to Pinkberry.
Pinkberry sucks. Pinkberries, they don't let you choose. Like the best thing about 16 handles and like Yogurtland is that you put in the amount of Fro-Yo that you want and then add the toppings that you want. Mm-hmm. At Pinkberry, they ask you and everything is behind the counter. So they add the toppings, they do the Fro-Yo. And it's like, bullshit, dude. What I do is I fucking put a layer of toppings, go get a little layer of Fro-Yo, layer of toppings, layer of Fro-Yo, layer of toppings, layer of Fro-Yo.
This podcast has devolved so quickly.
Yeah. Hey, it's still related. Marnie was at Fro-Yo. So Marnie's at Fro-Yo. She's putting toppings on, and she gets a tap on her shoulder. And who is it but Sude, which I forgot how we knew her. I know that we knew her, but she was Booth Jonathan's assistant that took a bite out of his ice cream or something.
And of course she's going to be at 16 handles.
Yeah.
She loves that. She loves that frozen dessert.
She loves some desserts, dude. So Sujin's like, hey, what's up, Marnie? And Marnie's like, hi. And they're catching up and basically being like, oh, yeah, Booth Jonathan was what did she call him? A wiener? A real wiener or something?
Yeah, I wasn't sure. I didn't write that down. But yeah,
Yeah. They're trashing Booth Jonathan and how weird he is. And Marnie's like, so what's up with you, Sujin? And she's like, well, I'm opening my own art gallery. And I'm broke because of it. And it's like a big undertaking, but I'm doing it. And it's awesome. And it's super hard. And my parents hate me, but I'm really loving life. And Marnie's like, well, if you need somebody to like help you with an art opening, those can be really hard. And I know that it takes a lot of support. And Sujin is kind of like, nah, I think I'm good. Mm-hmm. Like, I think I got it handled. Because Marnie used to do like that art curation gallery
I'm
shit.
surprised Sujin even wanted to talk to her about any of this.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, and it seems like towards the end of the conversation that she was saying it to kind of poke at her,
Yeah, it seemed
but it didn't
weird.
start that way.
It was a very awkward interaction. Like, why would you go up to this person and talk to them?
Yeah.
Like, it's just one of those things where it's like you see that person, you know them, but you just kind of duck your head down so they don't see you, so you don't have to have this conversation.
Yeah.
But Sujin wants to have it. So yeah, she says she's opening her own gallery, and Marnie seems a little bit like jealous, I guess, because
it's
like
in
everything
NoHo
else
too.
in her
It's
life.
it's like a real gallery in NoHo, not in like it's not one of the Brooklyn ones.
Yeah, that's what Marnie says. She's like, oh, I know a bunch of people in Bushwick that are opening galleries and they go under really quick. Mm-hmm. And Sujin's like, oh, no, it's in NoHo. And Marnie's face is like, oh, sorry, wait, what?
Yeah.
So then Sujin's like, all right, well, I'll see you later. Bye. And she tries to walk away, and then Marnie forces a hug on her. And is like, I'm super proud of you. I'm really glad that you're doing what you're doing. And Sujin just looks so uncomfortable.
Well, the hug
okay.
is like a side hug. Like she's walking away, and Marnie reaches out an arm and almost like clotheslines her to hold her from like walking away, Like,
yeah, it's a very unwanted hug.
It's the worst type of networking move ever. Like,
yes.
She's trying to get this hug in to be like, remember me because I want to work at this gallery or whatever.
Yeah.
But
was bad.
Sujin does say she should swing by at some point.
She does, so maybe we'll see that in a future episode, or
which
maybe
we don't see.
we'll
Yeah,
never...
we don't see that this episode, which kind of is set up that was going to happen. But
that's what I thought was going to happen. But no, instead, what happens is Marnie shows up to Ray's place. I guess she has keys there because she just walks right in.
They've been dating.
Dude, I've never I've dated girls for 2 years and they never had a key to my place.
Yeah.
They're not even dating. They're like just hooking up. They're friends with benefits.
They were dating. She will claim that they weren't, but they definitely were. They were dating. She's coming over with pizza to complain about her day. That's that friend with benefit part is.
she just like busts into Ray's apartment ranting about like, oh my God, Ray, you wouldn't believe the day I had. She's got a giant thing of pizza. She's like, why is everybody succeeding more than me? I ran into this girl, Sujin, that I used to work with, and she's opening her own gallery, and it's stupid, and everything sucks, and Ray's just sitting on his couch reading a book.
I think the book he was reading was like Falling Apart Without Going to Pieces or something.
Yeah.
I don't know the book, but it was a great title for him to be on the couch reading.
I know, right? That's such a typical Ray book to be reading.
Oh, and she comes in and she's got she has this mail, which is like a DVD from Netflix back when was mailing DVDs out, and it's like Bridget,
how quaint.
Yeah. And it's Bridget Jones's diary.
Yeah, she goes, Bridget Jones's Diary 2. Yeah. Are you fucking kidding me? And he's like, whatever.
She just walked in the door, judged his movie choice, complained about
starts
her life.
Ranting.
Yeah.
And Ray, she's sitting on the floor next to Ray, and Ray puts his book down, and he's like, I don't want to do this anymore. And she's like, you don't want to do what anymore? He's like, this. I don't like this. This sucks. I want a girlfriend. Like, I don't want whatever we have going on. I don't like it. I want a girlfriend that I care about, that I want to meet her family. I want to hear about her day. Then we could share secrets and tell stories about our past on a park bench at midnight or something. And he's like, and that's not what this is. And so Marnie goes, so are you dumping me? And he goes, yes. And she's like, are you fucking kidding me? You can't dump me because this isn't even a thing. And you can't hurt me because I don't care. I don't care about this. And Ray's just sitting there like, come on, dude. Yeah. And Marnie stands up and she says, is this some kind of fantasy for you to get with the girl that you couldn't get with in high school and then just hurt her emotionally? Is that what this is? Because you can't hurt me because I don't care. And then she takes her pizza and then walks out the door.
Yeah. That line about the high school thing is just so telling that
absolutely
of the high, like, because we had the one where she quit Ray's job and said, oh, fancy people want to work with me. Like, she just views herself as like this higher entity and no one else really does. Like, she's hot enough to get a pretty person job, but like, and like, she's from like New York area too, right? Like, it's not like she's from like the Midwest or like another place where it's like that common thing where like you're super hot somewhere, but then you come to New York where it's models and everyone, and you're just like another girl in the fray. Yeah, she's always been like the attractive one, but she's such a bad person.
She's also, but I will say that
she hasn't learned anything.
No, she has not.
Like,
Ray's therapy has not helped her at all.
Yeah, I thought her being with Ray would like soften the edges of her a little bit, but it does not.
No. Yeah, she's got the typical fish in a big pond thing going.
I would say that, but she's been this way since they were in college, though. Like, it's not like...
Yeah.
Yeah.
She also... I will give her that she is out of Ray's league. Like, Ray... It's very... I don't think that would ever happen.
Yeah, but I mean, at the same time, I think more like... I feel like it's more that Ray had a personality that like met up with hers, you know?
Yeah. They needed each other at that time.
Yeah, because like you could say Adam's out of Hannah's league or Hannah's out of Adam's league. Like one of the like... Yeah. And a lot of these couples, you could say that about. Like, I don't know. I wouldn't worry about like him being out of her league or anything. It's more that I thought them being together was a perfect character clash of like because they had that great scene at the dumpling place where they like argued. You saw both of their things and you saw them kind of get together, and they were together for the wrong reasons. But it seemed like okay, maybe they could make each other a little duller, less sharpness, and then when they do split up, they're in a better place to meet people. You know?
Yeah.
Like
that's true.
Like is Ray better off with Marnie or Shoshana?
I think that Ray,
if you had to pick one of those two,
I think that Ray's beneath both of their leagues.
Are you just going by physical attractiveness? Or
right now, I'm going by physical attractiveness.
I'm not going by that at all.
No. Right now, I'm going by physical attractiveness. Yeah. And like I could see, in terms of physical attractiveness, I could see Ray with Jessa or Hannah. That seems more realistic to me. But personality-wise, I think that Ray and Marnie, like that clash of personalities is good. And they could like be a good couple and like help each other and through stuff. But it seems like Marnie is just like not willing to accept any criticism.
Yeah.
Or like give into that she probably actually likes Ray. Mm-hmm. But in her mind, he's beneath her league. Yeah. So she doesn't want to admit that she actually likes him and be dating him.
Exactly.
Because it would be like a bad status symbol.
Yeah. And like, yeah, because she really does like him. Like, she talked about him in the last episode. She's like crying over him in this one. But yeah, it's just one of those things she'll never admit to it. And like, I just feel like they could keep each other accountable for their like
absolutely
two personality traits, and like they kind of need that to balance themselves out. The way Adam and Hannah balance out their weirdness at times when they can be together. She also had a line that was really funny in this scene where she says, "I don't care about you. If I cared about you, I wouldn't eat pizza in front of you."
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, it's a funny line. It's not actually true because she did that with Charlie. She would eat pizza with Charlie. They were making pizza or whatever. Yeah. But it's a funny line of like what people do when they're dating and they try not to like eat certain things or look some stuff that would make you look foolish in front of someone.
Well, that was like that's like my fucking thing about spaghetti on dates. Did I tell you about that?
Yeah, maybe.
I think I may have mentioned it in an early episode, but like I feel like you should never. Yeah, I definitely did because it might be the first episode. Because remember Hannah's eating spaghetti in the first episode?
Yeah.
Yeah, never eat spaghetti on a first date because you end up looking ridiculous. Reiterating that piece of advice.
Oh yeah, we did talk about this because I was talking about the spoon and fork thing, where you twist on the spoon and fork and make it all classic.
Hey, look at us reminiscing about our own podcast.
I feel like we did that last podcast too. We've done. Dude, we haven't even done 30 of these, and we're already like talking about.
We're getting nostalgic about the early days of Boys Watching Girls.
Back when we didn't see a lot.
That is kind of where Marnie is left off until later when everybody meets up, which we'll get to.
Yeah.
And now I feel like we should tackle Hannah and Adam.
Yeah, let's do Adam and then let's do Adam's thing and then go into Hannah. What do you think?
Sure. So Adam is at a callback for the play that he auditioned for, which the play is, hang on a second, Major Barbara. Mm-hmm. I've never heard of this play, but
I don't know.
Apparently it's a big play.
I mean, it's a Broadway play.
It's on Broadway. I mean, whatever, you know. It's by George Bernard Shaw. Mm-hmm. I've never heard of it, but I am also stupid. So Adam's at the callback, and the guy that's sitting next to him is like, he calls Hannah, and he's like, "Hey, I'm at my callback. It's weird. Everybody that's here, it looks like me, but with a nose job," which is, and then the guy next to him is like, "Hey, you probably shouldn't be on the phone. The people that are in casting don't enjoy that." And he's like, "Oh, okay." So he hangs up the phone, and he's talking to this guy, and he sees him as competition at first because they're all auditioning, but he's auditioning for a different role. Mm-hmm. And so Adam kind of relaxes, and he's like, "Oh, hey, what's up? I'm Desi." And Adam and him are just kind of like chilling. And I have to say, though that audition scenario is so real. That is the most real fucking thing that I've ever seen in this show. Because when you go on auditions, you go into a room and there's like 20 to 40 people that look just like you. If I always say, if you ever want to feel like you're not unique, go to a commercial audition and you'll see exactly how many of you there are.
Yeah.
And that's just in like a 20-minute time frame. There's hundreds of versions of you going in and out of this fucking room saying these lines.
Yeah.
And it's so great. And like the small talk conversation that he has with the other actor is accurate because you don't want to fucking talk to these people and you don't care and they don't care, but you're trying to like exchange pleasantries. It's just like, ugh.
Yeah. It had a telling line to start this where he's like, I'm not trying to make friends, because it's been this whole thing throughout this season of Adam not having a friend. And you like, he sits next to this guy, you see that they're like, you know what's going to happen. You know that there's going to be some type of bonding at this point.
They're vibing.
Yeah. They're vibing in the way Adam can vibe with someone.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
And so Adam goes and he does his callback audition. And then he walks out of the place. And then a lady's like, Adam, actually, could you come back really quick? He's like, yeah, sure. He goes in. He sits down at the casting chair, I guess. And the casting lady's like, hey, we just want to let you know you did really great. And you got the part. And Adam's like, oh, really?
Yeah.
And they're both, the two people there in the room are like, yep, you got it. You're great. You nailed it. And he's like, awesome. This is great. So then he goes into a bathroom, stuffs a paper towel in his mouth, and screams for joy because he got the part.
Yeah, at first I wasn't sure if he was going to scream for joy or like that panic that Hannah had when she was asked to write the ebook and she like immediately vomited. Like, I didn't know if he would like panic. Also, last time we've seen him on stage really was that time when he decided to quit due to creative differences with his buddy when he was on that like one-man show type thing. And so I didn't know if like
show is so weird.
Yeah, I didn't know if it was one of those things where he's gonna just panic, but he seems super excited and happy about it, which to me is a much more interesting way to go with this character.
Yeah.
To see him actually to see him in the real world doing something, to see how that actually looks is so intriguing. Yeah.
See, did you know what he was doing when he started stuffing his mouth with the paper towel?
I knew he was going to scream.
No idea.
I knew he was going to scream, but I didn't know if it was going to be a scream of joy or a scream of like panic and freak out.
See, I had no idea that he was doing a scream, and I was like, what's happening? And he just kept like stuffing it in his mouth slowly.
Yeah.
And I was like, what's going on here? So he calls Hannah to tell her that he got the part, which is awesome. And we'll get to that in a bit. Mm-hmm. And then he walks outside and he sees his buddy, his newfound buddy, Desi. Mm-hmm. And he's like, I got the part. And Desi's like, I got the part too. And Desi's with his motorcycle. And Desi's kind of like, you want to hang out or something? And Adam's like, no, I'm actually going to walk. I'm going to go home. And he goes, oh, do you want to ride? And so then Adam rides bitch on Desi's motorcycle.
Is it called riding bitch if you're on the back?
Yeah.
I thought that was just reserved for like the middle back seat.
No, dude. If you're on the back of a motorcycle, you're riding bitch.
Okay.
Am I wrong? I don't think I'm wrong. I'm definitely not wrong on that because you have to like grab hold of whoever's in front of you, like around their stomach.
All right. I don't ride on
No,
motorcycles.
right in. BoysWatchingGirlsPodcast at Gmail.
I'm sure calling any of those seats a bitch is probably a bad thing.
Yeah, it's probably offensive.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it definitely comes from an offensive place. But I feel like riding in the middle back seat is definitely 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah, that's also known as riding bitch.
Yeah.
But the back of a motorcycle I feel like the back of a motorcycle is way more bitch than backseat middle.
I feel like if you were riding in a little sidecar, that would be more bitch than that.
Oh, that would be real bitch, dude.
At least you can kind of look cool if you're like on the back and like turning corners sharply. But when you're sitting in that
No.
little kid seat,
The little kid seat seems more like condescending. It's like you're not at the adult table at Thanksgiving.
well, that's what the
you know?
middle seat in a car is like too. Unless you're like
No,
in a
that's-
sitcom and you just need to sit in the middle so the camera can see you.
I think backseat middle is more like you're the smallest person in this car. So like a big person doesn't sit in the middle. But I think the back of a motorcycle is so much more bitch than backseat middle and the side.
My
car.
only argument is like you have no other place to sit. You know?
Exactly.
It's like you can't fight the person to drive their motorcycle. Like, you know, like you can argue with the backseat passengers over who sits middle though.
That's true.
But he doesn't ask. Desi doesn't ask him to hang out. He just says, "Which way are you headed?" And he says he's going to Brooklyn. And he's like, "Do you want to ride?" But yeah, they seem to hit it off even throughout their like not talking that much. Yeah,
They're bros. They're vibing.
yeah.
They caught a vibe.
I'm like, Desi, you don't know what you're doing, buddy. But even though you're going to be in that play with him for months, so
Yeah, dude.
you're going to be spending a lot of time together.
And yeah, that's Adam until we get the big scene where everybody's all together.
Yeah.
So now on to Hannah. Hannah, at the beginning of this episode, is sitting at a fancy restaurant. I think it was Cafe Felix or something. Felix restaurant.
Yeah, I think you're right.
And she's waiting to do an interview for her GQ job with Patti LuPone.
Yes.
Who I had no idea who it was. Did you?
I didn't know by name, but I recognized her when we see her. And the last thing I've seen her on, my wife was watching What Happens Live, and like she was on an episode of that Andy Cohen show. And I
Oh,
walked
yeah,
past-
no, I would. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I was like, oh, Patti LuPone. I was like, oh, I've seen her in like movies and stuff, but I don't follow Broadway as closely. I will say this weekend I watched Hamilton on Disney Plus.
Oh, on Disney Plus?
It's great. It's amazing.
Is it?
It's amazing. I was like, yeah, all right, is it gonna live up to the hype, especially being filmed? And they did such a good job of filming it, and it's pretty amazing. Yeah. So
Yeah,
check that out.
I've always been I haven't wanted to watch it because it just seems too dumb. Like it seemed to me like a bad sketch comedy thing where it's like,
What,
hey,
Hamilton?
we're the hey,
No.
we're the founding fathers and we're rapping. Like, hey kids, we're gonna teach you about history through rap. And I was just
No,
like,
it's so much better than that. And they even poke fun at that they're rapping. They even poke fun at that in a scene, in a great scene in it. They poke
Okay,
fun
well,
at
I'll
that.
have to check it out.
It's great. Because the only other Broadway thing I've seen was Book of Mormon,
oh, Book of Mormon's awesome.
which stars Andrew Rannells.
Andrew
I
Rannells.
didn't see first run, so I didn't see.
Yeah,
him
me neither.
performing. But yeah,
Okay, so what happened? Where were we? Oh, she's waiting to interview Patti LuPone, who was famous for her role in Evita, the thing where it's like, "Don't cry for me, Argentina," which was like a big famous song apparently back in 1979 when that show came out. So she's bragging about her interview with Patti LuPone, and the waitress didn't know who she was. So as soon as the waitress didn't know who she was, I was like, okay, whew.
not everyone's
I'm not
gonna know
alone.
these Broadway people.
Yeah. So she's waiting and gets a call from Adam about his callback, and then gets a text message from Patti LuPone saying that she has to cancel after she just ranted and raved to the waitress about waiting for Patti LuPone. Waitress is like, so where is she? And Hannah's like, oh, she had to cancel, so I'm leaving. She just gets up and walks out. It's great because she was just holding a table hostage for this poor waitress.
Yeah, I just feel like Hannah's more embarrassed than she should be, as opposed to like, say you were meeting up with like Leonardo DiCaprio or some like known actor, and you were like, hey, I'm meeting up with this person, so I'm gonna wait. And then that person never shows up. Then that person just feels like you're lying. But if you name someone that they don't even know, they're not.
Yeah.
Like,
It's not a big deal.
Not a big deal. It's like, okay, this person I knew didn't show up. I got it.
Also, what I would have done is I would have been like, oh, I'm still waiting for her. And then as soon as the waitress left, I would have just left. So I didn't have to like face the embarrassment of the waitress.
Like,
you know? You ever do that?
But it's just not that embarrassing.
It's so embarrassing, Vance. What is something that you've been embarrassed
what do you mean?
about?
That's embarrassing that this person that she didn't know didn't show up? Or that she was stood up for like a job interview? Like she told her it was an interview. It wasn't even like
that she was making such a big deal about the interview, and then the interview got canceled.
Yeah.
And then she had to like walk away with egg on her face to the person she was bragging about the interview to.
Yeah. But I don't think that person cares. That's what I think.
No, they're pissed because they were expecting to get a tip or something. It's embarrassing.
That
Vance.
table's gonna flip over. That restaurant's doing well.
Come on,
that restaurant's doing well. This is in the before times when restaurants were doing well.
I know, right? Yeah. So, instead of just letting this Patti LuPone interview go, Hannah calls her publicist and finds out where she is, shows up where she is with some rehearsal space, and she's like, hey, what's up? I'm Hannah. I was supposed to do this interview with you. And Patty's like, I canceled that. And she's like, yeah, you did, but I showed up where you are because I need to do this story and it needs to due tomorrow. And she's like, oh, okay, well, how long is it going to take? And Hannah's like, it's going to take 5 to 15 minutes. And Patty's like, you got 5 minutes. She's like, all right, cool. So she starts doing the interview with Patti, and it's one of those, advertorials where it's sponsored content. And it was, I forget what the sponsor was. It was some kind of osteoporosis medicine.
Stronova for osteoporosis or something.
Yeah, bone density.
Yeah.
And so Hannah starts off the interview being like, so how long have you had osteoporosis? Patty's like, I don't have it. And Hannah's like, well, for this interview, you kind of have to have it. Yeah. So let's just like kind of make up a number. How long do you want to have it? She's like, oh, let's say I've had it for 5 years. Does that make me seem old? And she's like, no, I think that it's maybe you got it early. She's like, can you get it early? She's like, I don't know, sure. So then she's like, so how did you notice that you got osteoporosis? And she's like, I don't know, I don't have it. She's like, well, let's just say that you broke your ankle, you had a hairline fracture, and during a bone density test, they figured out that you had brittle bones. And Patty's like, okay. Hannah's like, okay, so let's see, how did you break your ankle? What is your favorite form of physical activity? Patti LuPone says, sleeping. Hannah's like, I relate to you so much about that. I love sleeping, but it needs to be something active. This article is about your activity and how you stay healthy. So what's something that you do that's exercise? She's like, walk my dog. So at this point, Hannah's just making up this entire interview.
I love this so much, just having like worked in advertising a bit. Like, I know it just is so true. It's all just fake and made up, and I love it. Yep. Like, you're talking about which dog she walked and like what's its name, and I do love seeing Hannah actually go into the details of it, because telling a lie like this, you need to have at least the right amount of details, but not too much. Mm-hmm. Too much seems made up, but like she wants to she needs some stuff to fill out this article too. Yeah, she needs she needs some bullshit to put the bullshit on the paper, you know? And I'm like, I don't know why Patti LuPone has agreed to this. I don't know why she agreed to it once some stranger showed up after she canceled. Like, why does she need this?
So weird.
Like, are they paying her for this? If they paid her for this ad, if Stronova was paying her for this ad, like, she would definitely have to go to it. It's not like, oh, we're just going to do an interview and we'll randomly put an ad price to it, you know? Like, Patti LuPone's getting paid for this interview.
Oh, yeah.
So, I don't know.
So, this is around the time where Hannah gets a phone call from Adam, who is telling her that he got the part in Major Barbara.
I couldn't believe she took that phone call.
Me neither. That was incredibly unprofessional. Especially because you're already on a time crunch with Patti LuPone, who doesn't want to be doing this interview in the first place. And she's like, excuse me, I gotta take this call. And she answers the phone and she's like, babe? No way, babe. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
No. Okay, well, I gotta go. Patty's here, and I only have like 7 minutes with her.
Yeah.
And she hangs up, And that was just the most unprofessional thing,
Like,
dude. You put your phone on silent airplane mode.
I didn't even care as much of how unprofessional it was, which it was. It's just like you're on a time crunch, and who knows?
Yeah.
Like, are you going to be able to handle Adam saying, "Oh, I didn't get the job, I didn't get cast"? Like,
Yeah.
And then what? You're just going to hang up? Like, just call him back in like 7 minutes.
Yeah. Just, dude, put your phone on airplane mode.
I don't know.
I mean, every job interview I've ever done, I put my phone on airplane mode because I don't want to have that distraction, you know?
Yeah, I've always just been a vibrate in the pocket. If it vibrates, I just let it go, or I hit it in my pocket to stop it.
Yeah.
But I do understand that they needed this scene to happen so Patti LuPone could impart her Broadway wisdom. But
yeah,
there seems like a way you could have done it, like where it I don't know. It doesn't matter for the overall story, but it's just because we're diving into a podcast about it.
Exactly. Yeah. We're getting real nitpicky with it.
Yeah.
So she answers the phone, incredibly unprofessional, and I hate her guts. Think that she should be fired from every job she ever gets ever again. Anyway, so she hangs up, and she's like, "I'm sorry, I had to take that. My boyfriend just got into a play on Broadway." And Patti LuPone is like, "Ooh, good luck with that." And Hannah's like, "What?" She's like, "You're going to need to be there for him to support him. And you're going to need to be able to forgive him because he's going to be an asshole."
Mm-hmm.
And Hannah's like, "What?" Then Patti LuPone is imparting this wisdom onto Hannah about, like, people on Broadway are assholes. They're going to be having late rehearsals, and they're going to be pissed, and they're going to be complaining a lot. And then the cast is supposed to be super close, and they are supposed to have these relationships that sometimes have been around for 30 years in the play, and you have to do it overnight. So the cast is going to be spending a bunch of time together, and if Adam is any kind of sexual person, he's going to start fucking people in that cast. And Hannah's like, "Wait, what?"
This is all like Hannah nightmare fuel.
It is like a 1 minute monologue of everything that Hannah could possibly fear about this.
Yeah.
And it's so great. Like, this scene is so great. Like, it's well acted. Yeah. Everything about it is true too.
Yeah.
Like, when you're in a movie or like a play like that, like, you get very close with those people. And then people do start hooking up.
And it also deals with that fear of, like, the person you're with becoming more successful and then leaving you. Like, that people have.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So then Hannah's dealing with that. She goes back to GQ. She is talking to I forget what the lady's name is. It's one of her work friends. Is it Jessica Williams?
Yeah, Jessica Williams is Karen, I think.
Karen.
Yeah.
Oof, rough name these days.
I know.
So she's talking to Karen about getting ready to do the Patti LuPone thing. Then her boss comes in and she's like, "Hey, here's your checks. Also, Hannah, I need you to do a story on the Gramercy and like 16 reasons why people should want to stay at the Gramercy." So we got you booked for a night at the Gramercy, which is like a dope hotel in New York.
Yep.
And Hannah's like, "Is it cool if I bring my boyfriend there? Because we're having a little bit of a celebration because he just got his first Broadway part." And the boss is kind of like, "Yeah, I guess. Congratulations to him, and have fun with that."
Yeah.
And then she walks away.
Yeah.
So Hannah's like, "What the fuck? What's going on here?" She's talking to Karen. She's like, "What does she mean by have fun with that?" And Karen's like, "I think she means she wants you to have fun. I don't know." And Hannah's like, "I'm sorry. Patti LuPone got into my head about Adam in this Broadway play, and he's going to cheat on me and be too big to hang out with me and not want to be around me anymore." And Karen's just like, "I don't know. I think you're reading a little bit too much into this."
Yeah. And I appreciated that Hannah was verbally stating how she felt there.
Yes.
Because I was like, okay.
Exactly.
So she acknowledges that the stuff that LuPone said is affecting her. Like, she's not just going to be like, "Oh, it's fine," and just blow up at the end. Which we've seen normally happen.
This is a different side of Hannah that we're seeing. So she confesses all that to Karen, and then she opens up her check, and she's like, "Oh my God, this must be not right. Like, the taxes must not be taken out because this is a lot of money. And then she shows it to Karen, and Karen's like, no, that's how much you get paid.
Yeah.
And Hannah's like, this is how much I get paid a week? This is more than my rent. I'm going to go to the meatpacking district and I'm going to get the fanciest dress that I can get.
Well, she says, I'm just going to go and buy some stuff there. And then she's just happened to walk. Is she even in the meatpacking district when she's walking later? I think she's in like Soho.
I think she's in like Soho. Yeah. Because I recognize those storefronts from, because I worked in Soho as a writer. No big deal. Not to brag. But she's walking by these storefronts. She sees a dress that she likes. And Joe's Fashion Corner, not a bad dress.
No, it's fine. Yeah.
It's a good dress.
I like it. She's walking down, she sees it, and she's like, I got a dress spending money, and she buys a dress.
Yeah, and it's a good dress. Yeah. I was very proud of this decision that Hannah made, because as soon as she was like, I'm going to buy a dress, I was like, I cannot wait to see this fucking dress that she buys. But this is a good dress, and she looks good in it. It's very flattering for her body, and it's just a good dress.
Yeah, and this montage is cut with Jessa at work being all bored and stuff.
Yeah,
spanking babies in the window.
Yeah, well, not real babies. The mannequin.
No, real babies.
She also looks like she's like lynching a mannequin at a certain point with a scarf. Yeah. It was so weird.
She's giving people the finger.
Giving people the finger, smoking a cigarette on the stoop.
Yeah.
So bizarre. So anyway, she goes to the Gramercy, and Elijah's there with her, and I was like, what is he doing here?
Right? Like, she's like, oh, can I bring my boyfriend to this place? And next thing you know, she's got Elijah there, and like everyone's showing up.
See, this is what I thought happened. I thought that Adam was going to keep hanging out with Desi, and so he couldn't come to the Gramercy with her, so she was like, well, I'll just bring Elijah or something.
Well, at some point, I feel like Adam and her would have just come home. Like, I feel like he was driving to Brooklyn with... Desi was driving him to Brooklyn, and the Gramercy's in Manhattan. Like, so I don't know if she was just out and she just stayed in the city all day. Maybe.
Who knows?
Maybe that's what happened. I don't know. But Elijah's back in the picture.
Elijah's back, and I couldn't be happier about it. And they're planning a surprise kind of party, I guess, for Adam for his big role. And they're talking about the Gramercy. And then out of nowhere, Shoshana shows up for her first appearance in this episode.
Yeah, I was surprised that she was going to be there.
Yeah, and she's like, oh my God, this is such a cool place, blah, 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 blah. And Elijah's like, oh my God, this is a cool place. And then...
well, she also doubles down on the Adam on Broadway fear for Hannah.
Yeah.
I forget exactly what she says, but she says something that like just...
She says exactly what... Like, she condenses everyone's wisdom into like 5 words.
Yeah.
And she's like, are you worried he's going to cheat on you? Like, are you worried he's going to... Yeah, she says something like, are you worried that he's going to get too big to hang out with you? Or are you worried that he's going to cheat on you? Or something like that. And it's like, that's everything that Hannah's worried about.
Yep.
In such a curt sentence.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's so cutting. But, so yeah, then eventually Adam shows up with Desi to this hotel room. And he's like, hello, was anybody here? They say, surprise. Adam's like, oh my God, you're such a goof. And then he kisses Hannah. Then Shoshana and Elijah recognize Desi from an episode of One Tree Hill that he did.
Yeah, or I think he was on it for...
Or an arc or something.
Yeah.
So they recognize him from One Tree Hill, and they're like fawning over him, which I thought was funny, because One Tree Hill is such a stupid show. And it would be exactly the type of show that Shoshana would be watching.
But I mean, it also was a pretty big show for what it was.
It was like the OC. You know, remember the OC?
Yeah. I don't know if it ever got to the level that the OC did, but
yeah, it was like, I don't know.
I didn't watch
the OC's little cousin or something.
Yeah, I have a friend that watches the OC. Like, he's probably seen it like 3 or 4 times.
I watched it when it was on, and I enjoyed it.
Best thing about the OC is that SNL sketch with Shia LaBeouf.
Yes. What you say?
Yeah.
Oh, that you mean well. That's such a good song. I gotta download that Imogen Heap. Anyway, so then they're all hanging out at the Gramercy in the room, and Desi's like holding court, telling a story about some bullshit. I don't know. I wasn't really paying attention.
It's something about like going on a vision quest and like forgetting his mom's birthday, but he was like, I'm not gonna forget it. And Hannah just like is not having it.
Yeah, I was with Hannah on this.
Yeah,
because I was like, dude, this guy's so full of shit. Like, he's such an actor, dude. And this is just like actors. Actors think all the shit that they do is so important and like interesting, and they talk about it nonstop, and it's so fucking bullshit. So dumb, dude.
Yeah.
Anyway, if you want to know the difference between comedians and actors, it's that right there.
Except for comedians strive to be actors.
No way.
Or like they end up acting.
Yeah, a lot of times they'll end up acting.
It's like they end up being
just because they
actors.
see how much money it is.
Yeah.
So he's telling some bullshit story. Hannah's not having it, but everybody else is like eating it up. Marnie shows up. She shows up and she's just like, "Hey, everybody! Hey, cool! Hey,
Is she
Adam!"
still still carrying the pizza? By the way,
She is carrying the pizza.
how long has she been carrying this pizza around?
I don't know, but it's a great moment.
Yeah.
That she shows up with the thing. She's like, "Hey, Adam, congratulations! Wow, so proud of you. I'm gonna go to the bathroom." And she's like, walks to a door. She opens it and she goes, "Wow, this is a fucking closet. I'm so stupid." And then she just goes and finds the bathroom, locks herself in. Hannah goes, "Well, I don't know why I'm in trouble now, but I guess I gotta go sort this out." And that was such a great moment. I loved that moment.
I laughed out loud when Hannah gets up and goes, "I don't know what I'm in trouble for now."
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm in trouble for now. And she gets up and follows her. And I'm like, I love that that's Hannah's reaction to this.
Yeah. That's like boyfriend-girlfriend stuff going on right there. Where it's
What did I
like
do
the
now?
girlfriend comes home and is just like, "Oh, I guess I fucking am in trouble for something."
Yeah.
So she goes
Okay.
into the bathroom to find Marnie, and Marnie's just sitting on the sink with her head slumped.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, "Can I come in?" And Marnie's like, "Yeah." She goes, "What's wrong? Is everything okay?" And Marnie's like, "Yeah, everything's okay." And she's like, "Are you sure? Because you don't seem like you're okay." And I couldn't hear what Marnie said when she's like, "What's going on?"
She says,
And
I can't tell you.
I can't tell you. That's what I thought she
Yeah.
said. And then she cries.
And they hug.
So obviously she does care about Ray.
Yeah.
And it's hurt her feelings that I don't know if it's necessarily just Ray, but it's the symphony of everybody being more successful than her. And she thinks so highly of herself and she can't get her shit together.
But it feels like something we've already done in this show.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like we've done this before. Like she's been doubled down on like with relationships ending, and like she's been crying over Charlie like just a few episodes back. And,
This has been her the whole season.
and she does it anytime. Like Hannah gets the book deal. She's having her over for tacos. She just takes that over by crying about Charlie being gone.
Mhm.
This one, she's like crying over Ray dumping her and not having
Sujin opening
sex.
her gallery
Yeah.
or whatever.
And I was really happy that Ray called things off. Just when she burst in, I was like, Ray, you can't. This is not gonna work. Like,
Yeah, yeah. As soon as she burst in and I saw Ray look at Ray's face was kind of like, "What the fuck? You
yeah,
just burst in like this?"
yeah. Just like no ease in, no like, hey, I got us pizza. Let's open. Let's have some pizza, and then like organically get into what the day was. It's just like firing, just right off the cylinder. Which it's just like Marnie hasn't earned our like sympathy in the show enough.
Yeah, not at all.
Yeah.
Especially not at this point.
Yeah,
Like I have no sympathy for her.
yeah.
She's just like an asshole. And then she's like, "Why doesn't anything work out for me?" It's like,
And then
number one, you're not like really trying, and you're an asshole.
she doubles down when things go bad. Like
Yeah, when
Ray-
people when she asked Ray, "Why isn't things going well?" and he told her, she's like, "Well, fuck you."
yeah,
It's like, dude, no, dude.
and then she literally fucked him.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like Ray breaking out with her, she just went straight to the defensive to a point where you're like, oh, okay, that's the real side of you, and it's ugly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that like high school line was so out of line and rude
that was enough to be like, yeah, I made the right decision.
Yeah, it was really just like unnecessary and mean and cutting. I was just like, oh God, you're an ugly person.
Yeah, which is what Ray said in a few earlier episode where he was saying, "Oh yeah, I would never date you because I know you, but like, you're not an unattractive person." Yeah,
yeah. So after their cry fest in the toilet, they come out. Desi's playing guitar. I don't know what song he's playing. It's apparently some Bob Dylan song, but I guess that Michelle Branch covered it.
Oh, okay.
Because they come out, he's playing the song, he's singing, and then Marnie just joins in singing with him. And it's like, oh, who is this mystery man that Marnie's falling for now? And I'm like, God damn it, can she just fucking work on herself for a second?
Well, I just did the math of people in that apartment. I was like, okay, Marnie's there, Desi's there, something's gonna happen.
Yeah.
And
I thought it might have been Shoshana though, because Shoshana was like initially heart eyes emoji about
well,
him.
I thought Shoshana was gonna hook up with someone else at one point. But the song, there's a lyric, the more she cried, the worse I felt, was like the last line of that they sing. And like, just Marnie coming out and starting to sing along was just the most cringy Marnie thing to do.
Yeah, and it was like such a ham-fisted, like, these two are going to be involved kind of thing.
I don't know what your deal is with like the guy with the actor with the guitar.
Dude,
playing.
it's the
so lame.
fucking worst.
It was so
it's
lame.
the worst. That's like a trope of like, and here's Wonderwall, you know?
Yeah.
That's the fucking worst. There was a girl that I was on a date with. On my other podcast, I was talking about this with somebody. My other podcast, the Dating is Hard podcast. Check it out. Give it a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, along with this one. So somebody was telling me about a date that they went on during quarantine, and it was a FaceTime date, and the guy was playing guitar to her over FaceTime, and I was like, that would be such an awful... I would never think to do that.
Remember when Hannah breaks up with Adam and he's doing sad suicidal guitar playing over on like YouTube or something, and I'm like, yeah, that's what it is. Like,
that's what you look like.
He just broke out his guitar at this, like, in front of these random people, and they're inside of a really nice hotel room. Like,
I know. It's
know.
just the biggest douche move. Like, it's
now everyone has to
trope.
watch you play.
I know. And then Marnie starts singing with him, and it's awful. Yeah. And then Elijah comes over, and he's like, I hate that I'm in love with this guy. Yeah. And then he starts singing along with him, too.
And Hannah's face is just like, this is the worst.
And this guy is such a tool.
Yeah.
And I'm with her.
Yeah, I don't know.
On point.
I don't know how much of a tool the guy will ultimately end up being, but...
From what we've seen.
Well, it's just the guitar playing for me. Like,
dude, the storytelling was
bad too. Yeah, you're right.
That was
I forgot
douche,
about that.
Man. So then Elijah starts to tell Adam some Broadway tips about, like, this is where you got to go after the show. This is where all the cool people, the bars that they all go to. This bar is for like the A-list people, and the bar that you'll probably be going to is this bar. And Adam is not interested at all in what Elijah's saying.
Yeah.
This is cut with Desi talking to Marnie and kind of flirting with her. It seems there's a little bit of like romantic vibes going on.
Yeah.
He wants to hear her music.
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah, I'll send you a Dropbox full of my most recent attempts. And he's like, don't say attempts. You're a musician. You're actually doing it. And I was like, ugh, fuck this guy.
I mean, that's not terrible advice, but
yeah,
but we know Marnie enough to not want to champion her music.
I know. I hope that she sends him that YouTube video.
He's just gonna find it when he Googles it.
Oh, that'd be so great. I hope so.
I wrote down what Marnie's email is.
Yeah, I didn't catch it. What is it?
marnface88@aol.com.
Oh no. No.
I think that's what she said.
Dude, I remember in college, my professors were like, you need to get yourself just your name email.
Yeah.
And I was, because my email at the time was like jwelk89 or something. And she was like, do not have 89 because you don't want people knowing how old you are.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that. I was like, oh, okay.
That was
So
like
then-
the classic thing. Everyone had like some type of birthday or year or number or something in their like email addresses.
Yeah.
Names,
I mean, I'm lucky with my name being like a unique enough
Yeah.
name, but like people named Adam Smith or something,
Yeah.
they're fucked. Like, how do they differentiate themselves?
Put a number or something, or just something different, because you don't really need your name only. You know,
I guess.
back then it was one thing when you had to type stuff out usually, but now
Yeah.
everything's hyperlinked or whatever. You don't actually have to know.
You want to know what really fucking pisses me off is there's someone in the world with Joe Welke at Gmail, and it's not me. It's not my dad, who is also Joe Welke. So I don't know who the fuck has my name at Gmail.
Why are you upset with them? Like,
Because I don't want to have to give
if they had yours, if you had it, then they would be
because
upset
their name obviously isn't Joe Welke. Because there's no other Joe Welkes in the world except for me and my
There's
dad.
no other Joe Welkes in the world.
There's no other ones.
How do you know that?
I looked on Facebook.
That's is Welke like not a last name anywhere
Yeah,
else?
it's not. It's because
Did you guys make it up when you were hiding from prosecution?
they fucked it up. They fucked it up when my family came over. The actual name, I think, is like Vielke or Vielecki or something like that. And when they heard that at Ellis Island or whatever, they just wrote Welke. So we're the only Welkes, and we're the only Joe Welkes. So somebody out there has my fucking name at Gmail, and now I have to deal with Joseph Welke at Gmail, and then also Joe Welke Comedy at Gmail, and it pisses me off that I can't just have Joe Welke.
Joe, you talked about this podcast, how you go to casting calls and you realize how everyone's the same. There's like 20 different versions of you. Like,
I'm gonna fucking
you're
email
not
Joe
individual.
Welke at Gmail. I'm gonna email Joe Welke at Gmail, and I'm gonna be like, "Yo, bro, give me my fucking name."
Wait,
It
why
seems
didn't
like
you?
it's like
Why
part of my-
haven't you emailed that already?
I just haven't done it.
I guess. Wow. I love how upset you are, and you haven't done anything about it.
I haven't done anything to rectify it.
That's awful.
Yeah,
Just email.
I will. It'll probably be like some kind of spam account. It really annoys me though that I can't have just Joe Welke at Gmail.
All right.
I have to go through the whole rigmarole of fucking typing out Joseph.
Just email him, tell him you have 2 podcasts, pick one that he wants to be a guest on, and then trade you the email for it.
Yeah, I'll be like, I'll give you Joseph Welke if you give me Joe.
Yeah.
I'll trade you emails.
I'm sure people want to trade emails right now.
Yeah. So anyway, Elijah's trying. Then it cuts back to Elijah, and it seems like he's trying to use Adam in order to get into Broadway shows and like network and shit.
Yeah.
And
Because he
Adam's
wants
like,
to get out of the dance or music. What
it's
is he in?
something
He's
like-
in like music theater or something. He wants to get back to the Broadway.
He wants
to get out of the
he's in like
dance
dance
something.
troops.
Yeah.
He's like in the dance world, and he
Yeah.
wants to move back into Broadway or get into Broadway and break in.
Yeah.
And Adam's like, yeah, cool. Hannah, rescue me, basically.
Yeah.
Because he fucking does not enjoy Elijah's company.
And then Adam goes on to say that he doesn't want to be a part of the scene at all.
Yeah,
which-
and Elijah's like, oh, what?
yeah.
He's like, yeah, I don't want to be a part of the scene. I don't want to be part of any scene.
Yeah.
And Elijah's flabbergasted.
And he's like, I don't really care about going to the bar after. Sometimes I just want to go home and go to sleep. And
yeah.
I'm just like, that is not what you do. And he has this great line of like, fine, don't take my advice, but don't come crawling to me when you don't feed Kristen Chenoweth or something.
Don't come crawling to me when you have to wake up Kristen Chenoweth because she passed out because she didn't eat enough.
Yeah, something like that.
And then it cuts back to Desi and Marnie. And Desi's like, all right, well, I should hit the old dusty trail. My Clementine's making paella. And Marnie's like, is that like lyrics to a song?
Yeah.
And he's like, no, it's just I'm leaving. And paella is a type of food that's like rice and meat and stuff.
Yeah, it's like a big pot that I have to help with. Like basically, whoever Clementine is his girlfriend or wife or something.
That's
right?
what if you refer to someone as your Clementine, that's like your girl.
Yeah.
I feel like. And I don't think Marnie understands that.
It could also be that girl's name too, like legitimately.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, I don't think Marnie understands that because she's got eyes for this guy now.
yeah. Which that part where I was like, this is great. If this guy doesn't have eyes for Marnie and is only just like, oh, you do music, I do music, that's the only thing I care about, I'm like, all right, cool. Because I'm not ready for her to just jump in and start dating another dude that she can cry about in 2 episodes.
I know. So this is when Jasper and Jessa show up, and they're high out of their minds.
Yes.
They burst in. They're running around. They're all amped up.
Yeah.
Jasper,
why were they invited to this? Why are
who
they
knows?
This should just be a Hannah and Adam night. Like
exactly.
Yeah.
Just lots of fancy fucking in the Gramercy.
Yeah.
Like that's a joke by Tom Segura that I love, where he's like, hotel sex is different than regular sex, because regular sex is like, let's just try and like have a good time, but hotel sex is all about let's disrespect this room. You just have craziness going on. So Jasper and Jessa show up. They're drugged out of their minds. Jasper tries to remember everybody's name. He's pointing at everyone, saying the wrong name. He calls Adam Snoop at one point, right?
And I love that Adam just goes, yep.
Yeah. It's so weird. And then they start running all over the place. Then you see Jasper talking to Shoshana.
Yeah, they're sitting on a bed at the edge of the bed, and it's Jasper next to Shoshana. And I wrote down in my notes, Shoshana is high as fuck.
I couldn't understand anything Jasper was saying.
Yeah.
He's talking so fast. And then Shoshana's talking so fast.
Yeah.
And Jasper's like, you're on coke, aren't you? Where'd you get your coke? Yeah. And Shoshana's like, oh, no, I'm actually not on coke. Yeah, everybody thinks I'm on coke, but I'm not.
Yeah.
And then Jessa comes out. She's jumping on the bed. And Jasper's like, we got to get out of here. We got to get some coke. And Jessa's like, we don't have any money. He's like, no, but we need more coke. And then Jessa's like, I know where to get money. Mm-hmm. So then they show up to the children's store that Jessa works at. They rob the children's store. They go buy cocaine. They go back to Jessa's apartment and they just do a bunch of blow. It looks like Jasper's trying to like hook up with Jessa and she's slapping him away.
Yeah. It doesn't even seem like a fun experience to just be doing blow in that place and just hanging around each other. Like why did they go out or somewhere? Like, I don't know.
Look, yeah, I've never done a drug in my life, but I feel like if I was going to do cocaine, I'd want to like go somewhere cool.
And not be with
like
a person
club.
that doesn't want to hook up with you.
Yeah, like a club or a concert or fucking anywhere.
Just roam the street, maybe?
Yeah.
I don't know. Or
go back skateboarding.
Go back to the hotel party that at the Gramercy with some other people. I don't know. If they were doing heroin, that'd be a different thing.
Yeah. But looks like Jess is relapsing pretty fucking hard here.
Yeah, all it took was Guy to tell her that she's shouldn't be at the job she's bored at.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is Jessa trying to be normal. That was her trying to be normal in these 2 episodes.
Yeah, dude. Like, but also everybody's bored at their fucking job.
But it's like,
what is Jessa gonna do? Like what's a profession that she could do?
Do you remember what made her decide to start working at that place? I remember the episode with like she walked and she's like, I'm gonna go get a job. Like, what was the prompt?
She said that she needed something that had a bit more innocence to it.
But what was happening before that? Like, was that when Shoshana called her out because she was trying to study, and Jessa was like rambling on about something?
Yes, that's the episode. Yeah. And then they're walking together, and then she's like, I need to get she saw the help wanted sign. Yeah. She's like, maybe I need to get a job. This has a little bit of innocence to it. Maybe I need that in my life. And then Shoshana screams from across the street, you have felonies. Or like you're a criminal or something. Yeah, you're a criminal.
Even though she was a nanny, she could always go back to that.
Yeah. So
yeah, it just seems like, I don't know.
They're going hard on the coke. Like, she robbed a store
Yeah.
that she worked at. So it's like, you're suspect number one. You know, inside job shit.
I don't look forward to her being like, I don't know where the money went. Well, Jessa, we have to let you go. There's been some complaints. Like, I feel like that's the next scene that we'll get with her, and that'll be the end of that job. Like, I feel like the setup for that job had so much stuff that you could like pull from it, but it was just there so she could steal money from it. But whatever.
It was also funny when she like sold that black christening gown to that lady.
Yeah.
It was like some real like Clerks vibes.
Yeah, that was like commentary on the type of people that would frequent that store and how her judging them would force them to do something.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But now I guess that's over. Who knows?
It's
she
over,
she could become employee of the month or something.
It's like Marnie working at Ray's. You thought that would be ripe with like sitcom-esque type moments, and are Hannah and Marnie going to be able to work together at this restaurant? Nope. Just we never see him there except for like one handoff.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, episode finishes with Hannah and Adam in a tub together. Adam's talking about how he fucking does not like talking to Elijah. He thinks that he just rambles about really stupid shit. And then Hannah says, well, I fucking don't like that guy Desi. I think he rambles about stupid shit. And Adam's like, are you just saying that to like, get back at me? Like some kind of, because I criticize your friend? And Hannah's like, no, what is this fucking Mount of Monte Cristo?
Count of Monte Cristo?
I'm drunk, dude. Yeah. I'm fucking wasted right now.
I do love that he called her out as like, are you just saying that as like revenge? Because like,
but you absolutely know that it's not.
Yeah, it's not, but it is on brand for her to do that. So it's nice that he knows enough about her to know, like, is she doing it for that reason? And,
yeah.
Yeah.
So then she basically confesses her fears about Adam getting the Broadway play, being like, hey, I just don't want you to, like, get too big and, like, cool and enjoy the play so much that you forget about how awesome our life is together. And Adam's like, are you upset about me doing the play? And she says, no. I love that you're doing the play. I just want you to do what makes you happy, but I'm like worried about losing you, basically. And he's like, you don't need to worry about that.
Yeah.
And she's like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Recite your lines. And then he starts doing the lines. And it's a cute moment.
Yeah.
Because she's like, oh my God, you're so fucking good. And that's it. That's the episode.
Well, he does the lines with the accent too. Like he does the lines at first, then he throws the accent on it. And you're like, oh, Adam can act. Like,
yeah,
the character Adam in the show can act, and then Adam Driver and as the actor doing that can act, and it's just like a great little moment, and it's a great like they addressed the elephant in the room. They talked about it. Who knows what happens later? But like they just kind of, yeah.
It was also like a good end to the episode because stuff got resolved. It was like, this is what I'm worried about, and he's like, you don't need to worry about that. No. I was like, oh, nice.
And I don't care if stuff gets fully resolved. Like every show episode doesn't have to like wrap up concisely.
Yeah,
for me.
It doesn't need to be like fucking like a Home Improvement.
Yeah, they don't have to put a bow on it. And like, here's the lesson we learned this episode. But it was just nice as like that they didn't go dark with it.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah. See, so here's where my prediction went wrong. I thought that Desi was going to be gay and try to hook up with Adam.
Oh, yeah, I didn't see that coming at all.
I thought so. I thought that Shoshana was going to try and hook up with Desi. Was wrong about that.
I thought she was gonna. I thought they were about to start making out with Richard E. Grant. You know.
Oh, you thought that she was going to hook up with Jasper?
Yeah, when she was like sitting on the edge of the bed. You know.
I could have saw that. Yeah, I could have saw like Jasper trying to like hook up with her.
Yeah.
And but this episode was all right.
Yeah.
It was a good one.
Yeah. So I mean, we're 8 episodes in, and like I haven't been like horrified yet.
Yeah, it's not that bad.
Yeah.
It's this season's great. I'm enjoying this season a lot.
You think Adam and Hannah have to break up at the end of the season and get back together next season?
I don't know. maybe Adam does get too big and famous from his Broadway shit, and then causes a rift.
Or he doesn't even get that big, but Hannah can't handle his success.
Yeah, she can't handle any bit of success because he was always the loser.
Yeah, I don't think Marnie can handle it.
Marnie can't handle anybody having success right now, dude. She is flailing. She is not having a good time.
Yeah.
This season is like beat down Marnie season.
But not enough that she has to like change. She still hasn't changed.
Yeah, we see her like try to make some changes and then just they never happen.
I really thought she was going to have a change after Ray just like ripped her apart to her asking him to, you know? Like,
yeah.
And that didn't really change her much.
That didn't do anything.
They definitely didn't solve anything at the beach house.
No.
Just a great moment. Hannah's like, what did I do now? I was like, that's so perfect. Yeah.
I don't know what I did, but I don't know why I'm in trouble this time. But here we go. So good.
Yeah.
And that wraps it up. Stay tuned for the next episode of Boys Watching Girls, when we will be discussing the episode Flo. FLO.
FLO.
Maybe that's Marnie's rap name.
I'm going to take a guess that that's a person.
Maybe it's a period thing. You know, they say like Aunt Flo coming to visit.
Does Aunt Flo always have the... Oh, yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Maybe it's Flo from Progressive. Maybe she makes a cameo.
That would be amazing.
Adam gets a part in a Progressive commercial.
Yeah, and Flo is just like a jerk to him on the set. Yeah.
He's like, yeah, you think that Flo's a nice lady. She's not. Anyway.
She's just drinking and smoking cigarettes, abusing a
Dude,
PA.
the titles of these episodes don't really relate to any... Like, Incidentals, like, it did relate to the hotel, but it's not like they broke anything or did anything at the hotel, you know?
Yeah, what was the episode? The last one was what? Beach House. And
Beach House. That was like, very... Yeah, that was all about the beach house.
But then the other one before that was just free snacks. And it's just...
Yeah, that's a small, tiny bit
They
of it.
bring that up more than the Incidentals on this thing.
Yeah, the only time Incidentals gets brought up is Elijah says...
explaining to...
Yeah, he's like, what are the Incidentals? And Hannah's like, what? He's like, I need to explain your rich, fancy girl life to you now.
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
I knew what Incidentals was just from either TV or being at hotel. I don't know. I just knew what it was.
All right. Well, that's it, everybody. Thanks for listening. Please tune in to the next episode. Flo. See you.